we'll be a better place. Watch over us, lead us, and guide us. In Jesus' name, I ask it all. And all the people of God say amen. Can we put our blessed hands together for Pastor Johnson as he comes?
I want to say a good morning again. Thank you all for being here. I thank our founder of Pastors United for Action, Pastor Nesbitt, for being here and helping us to get started this morning. I want to kind of go over with you what we intend to do here today and how the structure and the order will flow. And I want to introduce to you our moderators and then bring up to you our candidates. The way the order is going to flow today is the first 20 minutes of our conversations today will be moderator-generated questions. The next 20 minutes will be questions that will come from you, the audience. And then the final 10 minutes will be the candidates' questions for each other. Candidates' questions for each other. Having said that, each candidate has 60 seconds to answer the questions that they are asked. And at 60 seconds, I have a little alarm right here to let them know exactly when to finish out this sentence so that we can go into the next question. They will be alternated between which one is going to be answered the questions first, which questions will be asked first. Each question is going to give each opportunity for each candidate to answer. In other words, each candidate will get the same questions, okay? So with that in mind, we're also broadcasting live on the Pastors United for Action page, as well as the Mountain View Baptist Church Facebook page. So there may be some questions generated from those that are watching. And if you're watching, we invite you also. You can put your questions in the comment section, and we'll try to get them to the moderators as well. These two gentlemen here, Curtis Askew and Furman Jackson, are here to be question facilitators. And what's going to happen is when you send questions from the audience, you have index cards. What you'll do is just fill out your index card and raise your hand. My son, Isaiah, is going to come in. When you raise your hand with your card, he'll come and collect those cards, and we're bringing them to the facilitators. Those questions are going to be filtered, if you will, so that we're not asking questions redundantly, but they'll also be relevant questions for the structure of our debate. However, all index cards or questions will be taken. We'll take pictures of those cards, put them on the Pastors United for Action page, so that the candidates have an opportunity to answer those questions if you don't choose to connect with them yourself individually, okay? So we're going to be very transparent with everything that we're doing, and we want to thank all of you for coming to participate with us today. Now I'm going to introduce to you our moderators. Glad to have with us, we're going to do ladies first, Dr. Felicia Smith. She is the president of Community Remembrance Project of Greenville, and she is an awesome leader in our community as well. Let's show some love for Dr. Felicia Smith. And we also have Dr. Lerone Wilder, who is the pastor of the Mattoon Presbyterian Church here in District 23 here in Greenville, and he's also the second vice chairman of Pastors United for Action. So let's put our hands together for Dr. Lerone Wilder. So those two persons will be seated, and they will ask questions in sequential order. And now it's time to present to you our candidates. So I'm going to introduce them alphabetically, which is not too hard. We're going to invite a candidate for District 23 County Council, Alan Mitchell, if you'll come forward. Good morning. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. Whichever one you want. All right. And candidate David C. Mitchell. Thank you for being here. All right. At this time, I'm going to go to our moderators, and as we've expressed, 60 seconds per answer, and then we have, as I shared with them, we have the timer sitting right here. I'll be holding the timer for you. All right? Thank you so much. Let's begin.
Can everyone hear? Can everyone hear me? Can you hear now? Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Very well. As we prepare to begin now, we're going to invite both of you, both of the candidates, to introduce yourselves. You have 60 seconds each to introduce yourselves, and then that will give us an opportunity then to follow up with the questions that have been prepared for us to ask you today. So either one of you could begin first. So if you, since you have the mic.
Could my challenger have a microphone as well, please? Could my challenger have a microphone as well?
Check, check.
So would you like to begin, candidate Alan Mitchell?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alan Mitchell. I'm a candidate for District 23, County Council in Greenville. I have experience in architecture, planning, and I am trying to come to Greenville as a candidate to help all of us get improvements throughout our neighborhoods. I don't think we should be ignored. We need to be a strong community, a united community. I love Greenville. I grew up in Greenville. I did go away. I came back so that I could exercise my experience here in Greenville to help everyone. I love Ms. Norris, and she has endorsed me for this position, and I'm proud to say that I will run strong so that I can help all of us here in Greenville. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm David C. Mitchell, a candidate for Greenville County Council, District 23. I am a 55-year resident of Greenville County. That'll tell you that I'm 55 years old. I am a graduate of Greenville High School. I'm also a graduate of Spartanburg Methodist College, where I received my associate's degree in business administration, my bachelor's from Limestone College, my master's in human resources development from Clemson University. I'm currently a student at Gardner-Webb University, where I'm pursuing my master's of divinity degree in pastoral care and counseling and pre-PhD studies. I'm running to bring demonstrated leadership, commitment, and results to District 23. My hope is that you will support David C. Mitchell for Greenville County Council, District 23.
We thank you both for introducing yourselves. So the first question, what are the most pressing issues currently facing the electors within the County Council, District 23?
I'll take that question. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The pressing issues that are facing Greenville County Council, District 23, would be associated with affordable housing. I'm running on a platform of affordable housing that's income-based. Our communities are facing increased pressures of gentrification. Our neighborhoods need to be protected from the gentrification that's occurring. We have overdevelopment, over-gentrification. People are losing their homes and being moved out of those neighborhoods that are traditional African-American neighborhoods in District 23. When we start looking at the issues around Judson, Sterling, neighborhoods like Nickeltown, Green Line, Spartanburg Street, gentrification is taking over. We have to put in measures in place that's going to alleviate some of the gentrification challenges that we're facing in District 23.
My response to that is my platform is to improve infrastructure and to increase the number of affordable housing units in Greenville County. My third area is to talk to residents to find out what is on their minds. And as I have gone through Greenville County, especially through District 23, the residents are telling me that yes, infrastructure and affordable housing is important to them, but they're also really concerned about issues when we have a grocery store like Bilo move out of the area and no grocery store comes back in, creating a food desert. And we have mothers who are trying to get their children to affordable childcare, and they can't do that. So there are many issues that are coming up, and I'm trying to resolve them. Thank you.
Thank you both for your responses. You mentioned housing and we understand that housing is a human right, and we need to act with urgency as low and middle-income residents are increasingly squeezed out of Greenville's housing market. What policy changes should be initiated to address this issue? And we'll start with David Mitchell.
The policy issues I want to address as it relates to housing, and again, I share with you my platform issues is affordable income-based housing for the district. Some of the policy issues we need to address gentrification is to make sure that we are keeping developers in check. Currently, right now in the county, the county council is working on what we call the Uniform Development Ordinance. That is a policy issue that we need to get passed within county council so our developers will have a guide to developing in our district. But we as county council members have a responsibility as well to make sure they follow that guide and that they're representing the interests of the communities which they are developing. If they're not representing those communities that we're developing, then I have to take action to make sure that they're keeping in line with the area median income of 30 to 50%, where our people can still afford the housing and development that they're producing in those communities. We have to do that through, again, guidance and understanding of the policy and making sure that policy is in fact put in place.
Similarly, we have similar thoughts on this. But one of the things that I've noticed is that we have developers coming in from outside of South Carolina, and they don't seem to care really about the residents here. They'll come in and they will take over property, and even if a renter is in that property, they will find a way to get that renter out, which in effect creates homelessness in some situations. We need to enact some protections through county council where anytime someone is in a structure, they should not be put out on the street just for the benefit of someone to make money. That is totally wrong. I am against it, and I will fight to do everything I can to enact some kind of legislation to prevent that.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you provided your statement because that's a good segue into the next question. Greenville County has a large number of residents who are homeless for various reasons. Can't afford the high rent due to low-wage jobs, mental illness, and substance abuse. Do you have a plan, if elected, to address this crisis?
I don't have a plan that's already developed, but I do know that I'm already working with organizations like the Greenville Homeless Alliance to try to come up with something that is workable. I know that other states are feeling the same kind of pinch, and Greenville is starting to have that impact. I know in Ohio, they've allocated money for the homelessness, and the people in Pennsylvania are sending their homeless to Ohio where the money is. Same kind of thing is happening here in Greenville. People from outside of Greenville are being brought in, and that's taking more of our resources. We all need to get together at the round table and figure out how we can come up with solutions to prevent that influx and also to help the ones who are already here.
Homelessness is not a new issue. We've been dealing with this issue tremendously for the last 20, 30 years here in Greenville County. It's only increased based on the fact that there's less homes and less housing available for residents of Greenville County. Right now, Salvation Army has a waiting list. Shepherd's Gates has a waiting list. United Ministry has a waiting list. We need to reduce that waiting list by providing opportunities for housing, affordable housing, where individuals can not only, first of all, find homes, but you have to have a way to pay for that home, providing jobs and opportunities for people to go to work so you can. Now, again, we can address the mental health issue because there are a lot of people who are homeless who have mental health issues. We need to tackle that first as well by making sure our healthcare system is addressing adequately the mental health issues, but also finding out individuals who are in need. The key thing for county council members to do is move from the council chambers and move to the streets and find out from these individuals, how can I help you? And I find out how can I help you, then I found appropriate agencies for you in order to get you the resources needed so you don't be homeless anymore.
Thank you. So have you read any of the county's comprehensive plans for either 2009 or 2019? And this is for Alan Mitchell.
So have I read it?
Yes.
I haven't read it in any kind of entirety or anything, but I have been introduced to a lot of their plans. I've talked with Mrs. Norris about some of these rules that they're trying to put in place, and it's inadequate as far as I can tell. We need to do more to try to come together and figure out what it is that we can do. Sometimes we get sidetracked because something is coming to us directly, and it's taking our attention away from the big picture. So we need to look a little bit broader and figure out what is it we can do, and then begin to work together to solve these problems.
Ma'am, I have read the plan. It's the Unified Development Ordinance. It's 2 years behind schedule. I would say to you and to the audience here that we need to get the Unified Development Ordinance passed, and council needs to work with the consultants to make sure that we have a plan in place. Why is it so important that we have the Unified Development Ordinance passed? One, it will help developers and give them a guide to development in our district. Right now, it's the Wild Wild West outside of the city limits of Greenville County. When we get out into the county, we need some direction. Right now, they're currently on the land use portion of the Unified Development Plan. With that plan in place, and now it's a vast document, it's over 300,000 words so far. You can't read it overnight. But the key thing is knowing the issues, how we will apply those things that are associated, that impact District 23. When we start talking about infrastructure, the lack of sidewalks, the lack of traffic calming, the lack of street lights, the lack of safety in our neighborhoods, all those things are addressed in that plan that I've read. It's called the Unified Development Ordinance. It is some good stuff in there, but it needs some guidance and development along the way. Let me, David Mitchell, and I will make sure that happens.
Thank you. What elements of county government do you deem most ineffective, and what strategies would you employ to ensure that it operates more effective? And I'll start with you, David.
Are you thinking about talking about council or government itself?
County Council.
We all know Greenville County Council is dysfunctional. And I'm not cashing any aspersions as a council member I see sitting in the audience, but it is dysfunctional. My role on Greenville County Council is to bring a voice of reason to Greenville County Council. I'm not there to be a counselor to any grown men or women on the council, but what I will do is make sure that we work effectively and efficiently to make sure that the duties and responsibilities of Greenville County Council are carried out based on what the residents of this county elected them to do. All the bickering and back and forth, the personal disagreements with each other get in the way of productivity in this county. We need a better representation on Greenville County Council. And I promise you, if you elect me, David C. Mitchell, Greenville County Council District 23, I will focus on being a person who works across the aisle, but also make sure that we get the best interest and best directive for District 23.
I agree that county council is dysfunctional, but I also think that county council members don't really delve into the issues that are presented to them correctly. You were talking about the unified plan a few minutes ago, and that is similar to what has already been done with communities like Judson and Nicholtown, where they've presented a master plan, but then they don't do anything with the master plan. They don't follow it. This is why I'm saying that we need to look at things differently and not just pay consultants to come up with issues and plans that will end up being put on a shelf and ignored anyway. And if you elect me, Alan Mitchell, to go to county council, I will work to try to get county council members to do their homework and to be more effective by talking with each other.
Very well, thank you both. Since we're talking about county council in particular, in 2017, council members Willis Meadows and Joe Dill joined a lawsuit challenging the restructuring of what was at the time Greenville Health System, now Prisma, arguing that under state statute, the reorganization of the existing system violated the public charter of the hospital system by severing the county council's ability to appoint board members while at the same time transferring public property to private control. Were Meadows and the other plaintiffs correct? If yes, why? And what, if anything, do you think you would be able to address the problem? And if not, why not? Mr. Mitchell.
The Greenville Health System, which subsequently became Prisma Health, created a different organization to allow for the control of property outside of Greenville Health System. County council still had their abilities to appoint people to Greenville Health System. I don't know why they even brought that lawsuit, because that lawsuit didn't really impact what Greenville Health System was doing. They had looked at hospital systems around the country and said, look, we're either going to have to grow or we're going to be eaten up by someone and we won't have control over what we can do. So they decided to grow, and they brought in Oconee Hospital, Lawrence Hospital, and several others, and then they eventually brought in Palmetto Health so that they could become a larger organization and control their own destiny.
Sir, I think that kind of goes back to the whole premise of some of the dysfunctionality of county council and representatives on council. Prisma, Greenville Hospital System, whatever name it is, they have done a great job in providing health care. Now, there are needs for improvement. We need emergency rooms up in northern Greenville County. But I don't see where county council, I'm not a medical expert, to determine what's best for our district. I will leave that up to the hospital administrators and those people who, in fact, can make change in our healthcare system. We don't need to get in the way of the healthcare system. That's the last thing we need to do. What we need to do is put more EMS units on the road so we can get people to and from the hospital system and emergency centers as quickly as possible. That's county's role, because we pay for that. A board seat, that's ridiculous. I mean, if you lose the board seat, so what? Let the hospital system do what the hospital system does, and county council stay out of that business because you have lost power influence in that role. Thank you.
So if you allow me, I want to go back to the question too. Were Meadows and the other plaintiffs correct in their approach? And if yes, why? And what, if anything, do you think you would do or you'll be able to do to address the problem? If they weren't correct, why weren't they correct? So I just wanted to clarify for our audience because we want to make sure we're clear on what happened here. Yes, sir.
I guess to get the context of the question you're asking, are they?
So were they correct in joining the lawsuit?
Based on my response, I say no, they were not correct in joining the lawsuit due to the fact that it's not, you're arguing over a board seat and power, over an influence over something that you have no expertise in. If you have a board seat, that's fine. County council should have representation on the Greenville Hospital System or Prisma board. But anything further than that, bringing lawsuits, it's useless time of council. We have other issues that we can address as it relates to county council. The biggest issue is infrastructure in this county. It's overdevelopment that's going on in this county. It's the ignoring of neighborhoods and districts throughout the county, but mainly District 23 that I want to get addressed. So the petty issues of, do I have a board seat on Prisma? Not really considered an important issue. Bringing a lawsuit, totally unnecessary.
Yes, sir.
Anytime someone brings a lawsuit, they and only they know why they're trying to bring that lawsuit. I'm not in a position to say if they were correct or not correct, but I am in a position to say whether or not I agree with what they did. I do not agree with what they did because it did not serve a purpose that was going to benefit the people. They still had the ability to appoint someone on that particular board, but there was more than one board. As I said, there was another entity, the SCO, that had been created so that they could work to do what they needed to do to expand. So with county council, everybody has their own motives for why they do things, and I cannot get into that because I have no idea what their motive was other than to maybe bring some publicity to themselves.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your response. Is accountability of African American elected officials different from that of their white counterparts? And if so, explain how is it different? We'll start with Alan.
African American elected official accountability is definitely different. The expectations that are put on us are much greater than the white counterparts. Our white brothers and sisters can basically take the weekends off if they want to. We can. Our expectation is to do what I already plan to do, which is to visit you in your neighborhoods, on your streets, in your churches, at your schools, wherever you call me to visit. A part of my campaign is to listen to you, and I can't listen to you if I can't see you and talk with you. We have a history of being neglected already, and I don't want to see that history neglected any further. And this is why I'm running for county councils, so I can have that kind of voice and be able to make those kinds of statements and be there for you when you need me.
Equality is important. It's extreme completely for our neighborhoods and our people. When I am a member of Greenville County Council, I will look at each county council member as an equal colleague on council. Do we have a greater responsibility to the African American community with this being an African American, primarily, predominantly African American district? Yes, we do. Should we work harder? Yes, we should, as is any other county council member representing their district. So when we start talking about the importance of African American having more significance, no, not on council. We should all be equal colleagues, but our work should be surpassing that of our colleagues on Greenville County Council and making sure that we're delivering, because one thing about the African American community, they expect for you to deliver. They expect for you to give the results. They expect for you to hold you accountable for what you say you're going to do. And that's what I will do as a county council member, is to deliver those results with equality in mind and respecting the district, working hard for the African American people that I serve.
Very well, thank you both. So based on the totality of your answers, do you believe your constituents, particularly those who are African Americans, have enough information about how to hold you accountable for the decisions that you will make in their name if you are elected? I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Mr. Mitchell, David Mitchell.
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. Based on the totality of your answers, do you believe your constituents, particularly those who are African American, have enough information to hold you accountable for the decisions you will make in their name if you are elected?
One thing about it is we have to inform individuals in our district of what our platform is and what we're going to work for. My challenge I always talk about is for the people. I'm for the people too, but I'm for what I'm going to do for the people. The way to get that response is ask them, what does your community need? How can we better serve you as a county council member? What are the particular issues that you're facing? Because the issues in Judson are different from the issues in Nicholtown. The issues from Nicholtown are different from the issues on Green Line Spartanburg Street. So it's a vast thing. They need sidewalks in Judson, but yet they need street lights on Green Line. So how do we improve that? Ask questions so they can hold you accountable for what you tell them you're going to deliver. And the key thing is, do not promise something that you know you can't deliver, or it's not in your purview on Greenville County Council. I see that happen time and time again with elected representatives saying, we can get this done, and you have no purview to do that in. My goal will be to deliver and be held accountable for what I tell people I'm going to do.
Mr. Mitchell.
David, I agree with you, very much so. I have established a website so that people can write to me, give questions, even get answers. I have a dedicated phone number so that people can call me and they can hold me accountable to all of these things that I'm saying. I do not make promises that I can't keep. That's why my platform is very tight. It is two things: infrastructure and improved affordable housing. And once I can do that, I can move on. But I'm developing a repository of all the answers that I'm getting from residents as I travel through Greenville County and District 23, so I can take those to County Council in some kind of a priority order and find out from them what is it that we can do here that is going to satisfy the residents in Greenville County.
Thank you. You mentioned infrastructure. It's often mentioned as a serious problem in Greenville County, as well as the city. Do you have any experience in dealing with this issue, and how could your experience benefit District 23 and the county? So I'll start with Alan again.
I do have experience in this. When I worked at the Greenville County Planning Commission, I wrote a couple of grants to get infrastructure improved in the Nickeltown neighborhood. We put in curb and underground storm sewers, et cetera, sidewalks in some of the areas. And these are the kinds of things that I want to continue to do. I've recently been working with the Director of Public Works. We ride around, we identify areas, because the city has their list of things that they think that they should do for us, and our residents have a different list, and we're trying to come together on those kinds of lists. So yes, we're improving sidewalks and we are improving underground areas. We're also trying to work with the private utilities to improve electrical distribution, gas line distributions, because a lot of our stuff is 50, 60, 70 years old, and it needs to be upgraded, and it needs to be on a priority list, and that list needs to be started now.
I've served for the past 13 years on the Greenville Transit Authority Board of Directors, Greenlink, as most people know it by. When I start looking at all the improved infrastructure we have within our bus system, but yet we have huge Proterra buses that are running through our neighborhoods that can't make it through there because of the narrow roads and streets that we are faced. There are no sidewalks, there are no bus stops. We can't put those things in because due to lack of infrastructure. Again, development is occurring in our district, and people are not focused on the infrastructure needs. The simple thing as you build huge developments outside of our district, you find yourself with 2-lane roads. If you build an 800-unit complex off Ashmore Bridge Road, which is part of the county, then you need to build a 4-lane road. 800 units, 800 cars on a 2-lane road is going to be a disaster. We're going to have another Woodruff Road situation. We have to focus on infrastructure, people. That is the key. Not only on Woodruff Road, not only on Ashmore Bridge Road, but right here in District 23, as we look at the development that needs to take place, we need infrastructure improvements right in our neighborhoods.
So very well. So quickly, so is public transportation viable in Greenville County? And if yes, should Greenville County expand its funding on Greenlink? And if yes, how much? You gave yourself that question. Go ahead.
Is Greenville County transportation viable? I will say yes to that question. 13 years ago, the bus system was in a shambles. 13 years later, we have added 17 new diesel buses. We have 4 Proterra buses. We have committed over the next 4 years to buy only Proterra electric buses as well as natural gas buses. But here's the issue. Here's the rub. If you are riding the bus, it's not efficient and it's not effective, even 13 years later. Reason being that if you have to be at work at 7 o'clock and you got to catch the 6 o'clock bus, our buses take an hour to run. We have to reduce that run time to 30 minutes, even eventually to 15 minutes. To get to your question, because I see my time is running out, is that from the perspective of how we pay for it, we can pay for that through access to additional funds within county council that we have that are sitting in reserves that need to go through that. The amount that I know that we need an additional $6 million in order to run our bus system, but we also need the other municipalities, Malden and Simpsonville, to pay their part as well, hopefully $1 million apiece.
We definitely need to improve our transportation system, but yes, we can have an effective transportation system, buses and other things as well. But when you ask how much should it be, you need to understand that Greenville is one of the lowest funded bus systems that we have when we compare it with other peer cities. So that being said, we need to increase it significantly. David is actually correct when he talks about the runtime. This is something that we addressed when I was a part of the Citizens Transit Committee. And when we have all of our buses going downtown before you can transfer, that hinders people from getting to where they want to be in an efficient way. So there's a lot of things that we need to do other than just throw money at the problem.
Thank you, gentlemen, so much for conversing with us. This will conclude this portion of the forum. And so now we have taken questions from the audience. So I'll start with the first question from the audience. Why do you think our community leaders, Senator Allen, Representative Dillard, Council members Fleming and Gibson, and the Honorable Xanthine Norris are supporting Allen in this campaign? And this question is for you, David.
My name is David C. Mitchell, and I'm running on that name, David C. Mitchell. The reason why, I have no idea. I have asked no one for an endorsement. The reason being, my mother taught me that you need to be accountable for your name. And I want to be accountable to the residents of District 23 based on my name. I want to make sure I deliver the results, the demonstrated leadership, results, and commitment that I promised you. So no, I'm not asking for any endorsements for anyone, whether they're elected officials or not. I want the endorsement of the people of District 23. Endorse me on June 14th for Greenville County Council District 23 and hold me accountable. And if I don't do what I said I was going to do, standing on the stage today, fire me in 4 years.
So another question, actually it's for you, Mr. David Mitchell. You referenced our people. Who do you mean?
All the people in this room, our people. Again, I spoke earlier about equality. I believe that everyone in District 23 are my people. My voice will be their voice will be my voice. So when I say our people, that's the concept I'm speaking of, is that I will represent everybody. So that's what I mean by our people. I love everybody. Every door I knock on, the last thing I tell a person before I leave the step is, I love you.
Thank you, sir, for that. Which next question will be for Mr. Allen Mitchell. How would you increase harmony and community? I think it's country here, but maybe in this case, county, divided by extreme groups. Divided by what? Extreme groups.
Harmony. I always like to go to people and look them in the eye, shake their hand, talk to them. You can't increase harmony by fighting people. You have to find a way to make sure that you can agree to disagree. On county council, there's a lot of dysfunction. Don't know how we're going to get everyone to work together, but I plan to talk with each of those council people and try to get them to understand the needs of their residents, because we are tax-paying citizens who are putting them in office to represent us well. I would take that same tactic to the citizens and ask them to work with me by giving me their ideas, their issues, and their problems so that they can be addressed.
Would you consider a tax abatement for landlords who are housing lower income households? So that's for either, David, you can start.
Yes. We offer businesses oftentimes fees in lieu of taxes. If you're doing good things that's going to provide affordable housing, income-based housing for my district, I'm all for it. Yeah, I'll give you a tax abatement. That's just one of the ideas that we can put in place among a number of things. I'm not sure you asked that question, but I appreciate it because, again, big business always get the fees in lieu of taxes. Developers get the fees in lieu of taxes. But if we have a landlord that says, you know what, I really want to be able to rent this house to a person, but I can't lose on it. If we provide an opportunity or plans or programs like that, I'm all for it. Yes, I will give tax breaks to a simple landlord who wants to provide affordable housing for income-based housing for people and residents of District 23. Certainly will.
When we talk about giving tax abatements, we have to be fair and equitable across the board. That's a tough question to answer that is not related to something specific. Developers come in, yes, they want tax abatement. Some get it, some don't. Some get it at different ranges and percentages. The same thing could be applied to a landlord. As long as that landlord is not building something that's going to be substandard for our people to live in, then yeah, we can talk about tax abatement. But if a landlord is going to really be doing something to become a slumlord, then no, I don't want you to have any kind of a tax abatement. So I'm saying that we have to maybe set some guidelines, but then we can look at each individual circumstance as they come through, just like we do with the developers. They make application, they put on the application what they want to do and how they want to do it, their background, and we can make the decisions based on that.
Thank you. If you are not elected, what would you do to help work on ideas or issues that are important to you? And we can start with Alan.
If I'm not elected, I will continue to do what I've been doing and what I'm doing now, which is working for the neighborhoods, not just my neighborhood, but all neighborhoods. I'll get calls from Southern Side, I'll get calls from New Washington Heights, I'll get calls from Judson Mills, Poe Mills, anywhere. And I will go to them and help them try to resolve an issue. I got a call at 7:30 this morning about someone being put out of their home. And I was trying to deal with that over the telephone. But I'm not going to stop fighting to help people. I've been helping people all my life. I will continue to do that, whether in my neighborhood or your neighborhood or wherever.
I'm not going to speak not being elected into manifestation because God has told me this is my election. So with that being said, what will I do if somehow the results are not what I expect on Tuesday? I will continue to do what I've been doing, serving my community, working on boards and commissions, effecting change within my neighborhood and other neighborhoods throughout the district. That's what I will do. I will continue to work with the housing community. I will continue to work with the Richland Cemetery. Just various things that I've worked with. I will continue to do those things and put forth the effort. The same motivation and activity that you see in me now, having running for Greenville County Council, I will try to implement those same ideas within front of council. In that 3 minutes they give me before that podium, they will hear from David C. Mitchell to make sure that everything's delivered. But I hope to be on the other side of that podium, sitting at the desk, looking at you folk and saying, we're going to deliver results for what you're asking for.
So speaking of the other side, for the first time in nearly 20 years, the Democratic primary winner for District 23 will face a Republican challenger. Why do you believe you were the best candidate to face that challenger? Mr. Mitchell, David.
For the same reasons, I'm running for District 23 against my challenger, Mr. Allen Mitchell, who's a great guy, is the fact that we have to have Democratic representation in District 23. It's extremely important. Why am I the best guy? Because I feel like I put forth the effort, the commitment, and get the results from the voters of District 23. I can motivate people to go out and vote for me in the fall. I will have them do that by making sure I keep my commitment going forward. My election is not going to stop on June 14th. I'm working through the summer, people. I'm going to be knocking on your doors. I'm going to be in your community. I'm going to be active. I'm going to act like I'm your council member because I'm going to call that election to fruition and then say that in November I will beat that the Republican that's running for District 23 as well.
My experience and my works that I'm currently doing give me the edge to be the best candidate. I continue to work in all of our neighborhoods, and I have support from all of those neighborhoods. But going even further, I think I am the best candidate to face the Republican candidate because I already have people from the Republican side calling me saying, well, what are you doing and why are you doing these things? I would like to talk with you because we may be able to work. So I'm counting on not only all the Democratic votes, but I'm also counting on pulling some Republican votes over so that we can work for all of District 23 and all of Greenville County. You know what? I wasn't born a Democrat. I wasn't born a Republican. I wasn't born with a label on my head. I'm a human being, and I'm working for human beings, and I'm going to fight and work hard for all of us so that I can win this primary for all of us and win the general election for all of us.
Can I rebut?
Sure.
I'm a little bit leery of calls from Republicans in this area of the country. It's truly a interesting thing that my challenger is receiving calls from Republicans this early on. My hope is that it is cordial and it's willing to work together, but I'm a little bit leery of working with individuals who have ulterior motives this early in the election because I don't think any Republicans delving into the Democratic primary at this point in time have any place. If I may ask the question about outside influence in this election. The outside influence that has impacted with dark money, we know it's coming from Republicans. My challenger has benefited from that. And I call on my challenge to disavow, to say to them, the mailers that you've been sending out in my name, in the name of a great representative, please stop. I am concerned about the outside influence and the special interest that is attacking District 23. So I am concerned about Republicans asking questions in a Democratic primary.
In all fairness, I would like
that.
to allow you that opportunity to
Yes.
address that.
Thank you. David, I think you misheard what I said. I didn't say I was calling Republicans. I said Republicans were calling me and saying they think that they might be able to work with me. You need to understand that there are 12 seats on county council. 10 of those seats are Republican seats. I cannot ignore people when they call me, just like I would not ignore one of you when you call me. But this thing that you talked about, I'm benefiting from Republicans, I don't know what you're talking about. And you say that I should call on people to stop. I would not even know who to call to stop because I don't know what you're talking about. So if you want to have a dialogue with me about something that you know that I don't know, then we can do that privately, but I don't think this is the place to talk about something that you may not really know about and I surely don't know about.
Thank you. Based on the totality of your answers and what you've heard from each other, what distinguishes you from the other candidate that is so deserving of a vote? And we'll start with David.
Please repeat the question.
So based on the totality of your answers and what you've heard from each other, what distinguishes you from the other candidate and that is so deserving of a vote from the electors?
I think what's the most important thing for me is that I'm going to deliver the results of what our people ask for. What I've heard is that we need affordable income-based housing that's going to protect our neighborhoods from gentrification. We need to manage growth that's going to provide infrastructure and development within our district. What I've heard from our voters is that we need a transportation system that is reliable and efficient, one that's going to get people to and from their jobs on time. What I've heard from the people when I talk and knock on doors in the neighborhood is that we have to establish a cap on property taxes, so property values that are continuously going up within our district are not outpricing people out of their homes through property taxes. So if you allow me to serve as your county council member, those are the things I will work on. That's what I've heard from the individuals in my district, District 23, and that's why I deserve their vote. That's why I should be the county council member for District 23. Vote David C. Mitchell on June 14th.
I am a lifelong dedicated public servant. I am a servant leader. I am a person of integrity. I am a person of honor. I am a person that goes into a meeting with 2 ears and 1 mouth. I listen twice as hard as I talk. I'm not boastful. So when I go to any kind of element, then I am trying to learn what is going on so that I can give an appropriate response, appropriate measured response. And by working hard, I can pull together the resources, the people, and all the other elements that are needed to get things done. I'm a person of action. It's demonstrated in my neighborhood. It's demonstrated when I work with the city. It is demonstrated in everything that I do. I may not have the gift of gab, but I do have the fortitude where I will work hard to make sure that you are represented well on Greenville County Council.
Thank you both, and as we slowly, surely find our way to the end of our time, these 2 questions are questions that you've decided to ask each other. And one question is, gentrification has affected all of District 23. How will you combat gentrification and help people stay in their homes and afford to move into new homes and apartments in all the neighborhoods in District 23? Let's start with Mr. Mitchell, Alan Mitchell.
One thing about it, you will vote for Mr. Mitchell on this election. As I said, I'm already working to get things done. We can't stop gentrification. Gentrification has been going on in the United States for the last 25, 30 years. So if it could have been stopped, it would have been stopped already. But we won't stop it any more than we're going to rewrite gun laws to keep people from killing each other. But in my neighborhood, I have demonstrated that I can work with other organizations. I'm working with Habitat for Humanity. We're building 29 homes on Webster Road in Nicholtown. I'm working with another group that we've pulled together to build 113 affordable housing units on the corner of Ackley Road and Lawrence Road. I will continue to do that and talk with you in your neighborhoods to see if we can come up with ways to get housing for our people. Like I said, we can't stop the developers from coming in and buying things that we don't know about, but we can continue to provide housing, adequate housing for all of our people.
Maybe we can't stop gentrification, but we can stop the excessive gentrification that's occurring in our neighborhoods. It's running rampant, not only in Nicholtown where Mr. Mitchell lives, but also in Judson and Sterling and West Greenville. It's running rampant. We need to slow down the excessive gentrification. We need to do that through providing funds and resources to the Greenville County Redevelopment Authority, where they can come into neighborhoods and communities and buy up property or help people renovate their homes by providing those resources. We're right here in Newtown. Newtown has a wonderful plan. I came to the charrette about a month ago, and they have a great plan for this community. They have currently 2 pieces of property that they want and that should have part of that development plan. We need to protect that property, those 2 pieces of county property, from the big-time developers, because the big-time developers are not going to build apartments and housing at a 60% or 50% AMI. They're going to go 80 to 100%, and they're going to maximize their profits. So yes, we can control excessive gentrification, but we need to step forward on county council and put in plans and policies in place to control the developers of doing that.
Thank you. Greenville is enjoying unprecedented growth, but not everyone has benefited from that, even had equal access to opportunities to benefit from this growth. What will you do to ensure that the people of District 23 have equal opportunity to benefit from the economic growth benefiting our county? And I'll start with you, David.
Thank you for the question. I'm an African-American business owner, and one of the challenges that we face as African-Americans is business growth, business development. I truly believe that women and minority-owned businesses should have the same equal opportunities that we talked about earlier toward contracts and developments and procurement. Right now, Greenville County, as any other federal agency, state agency, or local municipality, has policies in place. Some people like to call it affirmative action. I call it equality. I call it diversity initiatives. They have a goal of 25% that they should meet each year in minority spend, which means they should provide contracts to women and minority-owned businesses at that level. Right now, Greenville County is hitting that number about 8%. All I'm asking is that Greenville County do what you're supposed to do. Your procurement office, reach out to those minority businesses, promote development and growth within our minority businesses by meeting your affirmative action goals of 25%. If you just do that, I'm not asking for anything new, just meet that goal and we'll have minority and women-owned business growth in Greenville County. I can do that on District 23.
Equal access is crucial. James Brown said, I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door, I'll get it myself. That's equal access. We've been to school, we've gotten educated, we've worked, we have experience, and we need to work with our communities to make sure that everyone has equal access. We need to try to protect what we have. Unfortunately, things like gentrification have robbed us of many of the things that we used to have. If you look at Perry Avenue and Leach Street and all those areas that are close to downtown Greenville, what we knew when we grew up is no longer there. And they've turned property values that used to be $100,000 into $1 million. But that's not benefiting us. So what we need to do is get with the people who are accountable for doing this and either get them out of office or make sure that we get in office so we can change some things and make sure that we have that equal access and protection.
Finally, what results have you had to accommodate affordable child care services in District 23? Mr. Allen Mitchell.
Child care services is one of the things that was brought to me while we were campaigning. And in Nicholtown, just as one example, we had the Wheatley Montessori School come to the Nicholtown Neighborhood Association and ask for support on child care services. We have been able to work with Wheatley Montessori Schools such that they hopefully will be able to get a new facility, increase their enrollment from about 19 to 20 students to about 100 students. That's the kind of action that we take in our neighborhood to make sure that everybody has equal access. And if you feel like, well, he's talking about Montessori, we can't afford Montessori, there will be scholarships, et cetera, available so that you can afford it.
As part of my demonstrated leadership, I have had experience and currently serve as the president and chairman of the board of directors for Pleasant Valley Connections. In 2017, we were getting ready to close that facility. That facility is a vital part in District 25. I went personally and asked city and county officials for $50,000 just so we can keep the doors open. In 2022, we have $650,000 in the bank because of my leadership. That facility, and you say, why is he telling us about that facility? Because that facility provides child care. We have a brand new, redeveloped teen center that was done by Leadership Greenville that our kids are enjoying. They can come after school. Parents don't have to worry about where they're going to be, are they going to be protected, and get a meal. Right now, we have a summer camp going on. This is a wonderful summer camp. Full to the bridges, a 32-person waiting list just to get in that summer camp. So providing those resources based on my leadership in another district, but it's my experience that I can bring to District 23. Yes, we need a Pleasant Valley Connection Center, and I'd love to be able to lead that. I will continue to do work in providing child care in this district. Just give me the opportunity on June 14th. Thank you.
Mr. Moderator, I'm sorry, I thought you said examples in District 23. I kept mine to 23. I could have given you others also.
No, 23 is fine. And so now I believe we're at the final part of the debate where each of you will give your 2-minute closing statements. So we're going to go ahead and allow you to do that. Mr. David Mitchell will offer his, and Mr. Alan Mitchell, you'll offer yours.
Y'all, this has been a wonderful debate, and I've had a great time debating my challenger, Mr. Mitchell. I am David C. Mitchell. I'm running on that name, David C. Mitchell. My expectation is for you to hold me accountable for affordable income-based housing, because that's what I said I'm going to do. I want you to hold me accountable for a managed growth system that where development is keeping up with infrastructure, and infrastructure is keeping up with development. I want you to hold me accountable. I want you to hold me accountable for an improved transportation system that's going to be reliable and efficient throughout this district. I want you to hold me accountable in seeing getting a cap on property tax. So our seniors are not property taxed out of their home. Low-income folk are not property taxed out of their home because someone built a high-value home in their community. That is what I want you to hold me accountable for. I don't want you to say David C. Mitchell didn't do what his mama told him to do, is be accountable. As I said earlier, if I don't do what I say I'm going to do, if I don't deliver the results, the dedicated leadership, and the commitment that I stand on the stage and ask you to deliver to me, then fire me in 4 years. But all I'm asking of you is give me an opportunity to serve District 23 as the next Greenville County representative. After 25 years, I want to be the next county council member because I can deliver the demonstrated leadership, commitment, and results to this district. I will be committed to you as you are committed to me, but you have to hold me accountable. That's my expectation of you, and your expectation of me is to be accountable to you and find out what you need. Thank you so much for the opportunity today. I love all of you.
First of all, I want to thank all of you for being here today. Especially, I want to thank the Honorable Xanthine Norris for her service to District 23 for all of these years. And I thank her for her dedication to you as citizens. I want to thank Pastor Mills for opening up this facility for us to have this dialogue today. I want to thank the Pastors United for Action under Reverend Johnson's leadership. I want to thank our moderators, and I especially want to thank you, the voters, for showing up here in person and showing up online. I am Alan Mitchell. I am running to be your next county council candidate, and hopefully I will be in that seat in November. I'm running on a platform of not promises, but past work. These are things that I have already done, from childhood, being an urban planner, through my time as architecture, and into the present, where I'm the president of the Nicholtown Neighborhood Association. I have the time, I have the dedication to do things that will be of service to you. I will fight for your rights on county council. I will do the things that you ask of me because, as I said, I'm already dedicating communications lines open so that you can contact me and I can, in turn, get back to you as quickly as possible. Do not get confused. We are two excellent candidates. You vote your conscience, but my experience and my work and my dedication to citizens in Greenville is what I'm running on and what I will deliver to you, and you can hold me accountable to that. Thank you. Vote June 14th. If you haven't already, I ask that you vote for me, but above all, I ask that you vote because we fought for the right to vote and we need to exercise it. Thank you.
Once again, can we put our hands together and show some love for these candidates, for this incredible opportunity to hear from them and this opportunity for them to express themselves. Thank you for your time. We committed to 11 to 12, and I want to make sure that we stay within the limitations of our goals. I want to thank our moderators. Can we show them some love and appreciate them as well? And our question facilitators and both candidates and your teams for participating. And we do want to take this moment to honor the work of Councilwoman Xanthine Norris for so many years. Can we show some love for all that she's done to represent us on County Council for so long? Thank you for your time today. And I'm going to pray because I'm preaching. That's what we do in church. We're going to get ready to let you go. Father, thank you for this time today. We pray your blessing on every person as we leave this place. We pray that you would keep us and move us forward in this community. In Christ's name, amen. Thank you so much. God bless.